Hello, cats and dogs. Welcome back to New Cats, our Northwestern Dynasty. And as you can see, we are just adding to the trophy case yet another Rose Bowl trophy for this dynasty. That is our second one that we've won in this dynasty. Our first since 2012, when we beat the USC Trojans in the Rose Bowl. But that was not for a national title. This one was, which as you can see, we also won. So that is our second one here, and the Hokies really liked what we've done with the Wildcats, so they want to extend an offer for us to come and do that over in Virginia Tech. And I mean, it's a pretty enticing offer. Look at that; they're 11-3. I mean, these kind of offers don't really make sense because, like, you consider, like, okay, I've already got the program where it is here. Why would I go to another pretty established program? Why would you fire the person who got you guys to 11-3? But Virginia Tech really likes what we did. They thought they'd put it on the line to try and get us to go there, Mr. Rich Poker, and we said no. We say nay. So we're going to stick with the Wildcats. We still have a few more years left in this kind of 20-year experiment I'm doing, so we're just going to kind of leave things at that as we look over the rest of the bowl season. We'll probably see Virginia Tech here, see what bowl they end up landing at. There we are winning again. So Purdue gets blown out in their bowl game to Rice, gross. And Michigan gets blown out by Kansas State in their bowl game. So the Big Ten's not looking super hot right now in the bowl season. Penn State holds on against Washington State. That was an absolute grudge match, dude, just back and forth. Minnesota finally has a decent season, comes in ranked at 25, and they win their bowl game. Ohio State beats up on Florida pretty well to win their bowl game. Wisconsin absolutely destroys Tennessee. And there's Virginia Tech. They lost to Georgia Tech. It's probably what dropped them to 13. They were probably in the top 10 before that, but they lost. And Air Force is number 2, and they cap off another perfect season. So I guess they just didn't get the looks for the BCS this year. I guess we were just the better teams, which ideally I think Air Force probably still plays in the Mountain West maybe. So yeah, they probably were not getting the looks over a Big East and a Big Ten team. So here looking at our All-Americans, John Hobson, our quarterback, takes home an offensive MVP. He won an award for his performance this year as he throws for over 4,000 yards and 40 freaking touchdowns. So he adds 7 more touchdowns this year and has the same amount of picks. So I like that kind of production from Mr. Hobson himself. And then Alfonso Galloway also gets All-American honors in his senior year, putting 1,200 yards up with 11 touchdowns, by far his best season as a Wildcat. I love seeing things like that. So we already got 2 All-Americans so far in this season. Can we potentially get a few more? And in second-team All-Americans, we do get a tight end. We get Casey Chapman. Casey Chapman's fast car. He's got his best season as a Wildcat in his senior year. He puts up the most yards and most touchdowns he's had. So we were really just potent all over, man. Our best key contributors really getting involved and getting the recognition from the rest of the country, but I guess no one on defense. So I don't think we'll have any freshman All-Americans because, again, I think at this point, I don't think our roster is really spotlighting any freshmen. I don't think there's any position where we're like desperately seeking some young talent, a youth injection, if you will. Pause. I think we're pretty cemented with the upperclassmen that we do have. So now we're going to check our stat book as we love to do and just take a look really at how everyone shaped up. So we had a few quarterbacks take some snaps this year, but John Hobson, Jr., has a majority of the reps, obviously. So Phillip Mitchell, our running back, in his senior year, look at that, bro. He was probably on like his entire time here, like, Coach, give me the ball, please. As the Nixon brothers take second and third billing behind him. Mitchell was the true spotlight here. But when you have this many running backs who can produce on the ground, that's going to happen. So Alfonso Galloway is the top receiving target by a wide margin, dude. Mitch Berry, our third in terms of receptions, has 12 touchdowns. So he's the most touchdowns in our receiving core, but is third in the receiving list by reception. So he has 879 yards, and he's the next closest to Galloway, who had 1,200. So Timmy Colbert has a pretty great senior year with 31 pancakes, only 6 sacks. Garrett Mitchell, he finally gets a full-time starting on our O-line, and he makes good use of it. And these are a couple juniors, I think, or no, he was a senior, but all these guys are seniors. So it looks like our O-line is going to see quite a bit of turnover. I mean, these aren't great numbers, especially at this bottom here. So I'm not super worried about that. So, Major Sterling leads the team in tackles at 71. It's kind of low. I mean, as you can see, he had an 82 tackle season. So, yeah, it's kind of low. 71 being the most is kind of gross. So, but TFLs, Major Sterling ties with Sam David at 13. So both of our linebackers recording 26 TFLs between the two of them. That's some nasty work, if I do say so myself. And then Anthony Buchanan, our defensive end, leads the team in sacks with 8. That's just a couple short of where he was a year ago, so can't be too mad about that. Malcolm Edmonds leads the team in interceptions. That number's up quite a bit for him, even though his tackle number is just about the same as where it was last year. So, as far as pass deflections, Vincent Austin, the cornerback, I think again is leading our defense in deflections. I think he did last year too. There's another stat that he was at the top of from last year, if I remember correctly. So, and our free safety leads the team in forced fumbles. That's kind of crazy. He must have been just laying the hammer down on those receivers all season long. So, nice there. So, Napoleon Dyer in his senior year has a season much like his junior year, just never really reached that sophomore year of potential. But I think that sophomore year is when we won the national title. So, if he has a good year, we win it, I guess. He didn't attempt that many field goals, so things are okay on that front. We might get a better kicker. Who cares? I'm not that worried about it, but yeah, that's how the stats as far as players go stack up here with the Wildcats in our 2017, I believe, 2017 season. So here's how the rankings go. And, of course, offense and passing offense, we're first, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. Rushing yards per game is pretty gross, but points per game and passing TDs, again, top of the top. We're just there. we're the best team in terms of, I guess, like productivity, like efficiency on offense. We have just the most efficient offense. Red zone attempts and touchdowns is crazy. So we not only had the most attempts in the country, but we had the most touchdowns. So if we were getting in there, we were scoring touchdowns. That is crazy work. That is just the kind of efficiency that's going to get you a national title and a pretty convincing victory over the Miami Hurricanes. One of the best teams still in this game, even, they haven't been to a national title game in a few years. I think it's only been a couple years, but all the punishments and things levied at them do not exist in this, so they can still just be as good or as bad as they want to be, and they are still fairly decent. So it was their last appearance actually since 2006. That was the last time that Miami was in a national title in our sim, was 2006. That was probably, probably part like 7, 8, 9, like, geez, that was a long time ago at this point. So, taking a look now at the top 25 polls for the rest of this year, we of course top the rankings at number 1. Air Force comes in at number 2. Colorado State comes in at number 3. Miami drops to 4. Oregon State at 5. Remember, Oregon State and Colorado State played for a national title, I think, last year, so that's where they fall this year. Ohio State, another Big Ten fellow, is here at 9 in the top 10. Wisconsin just outside at 12. Virginia Tech, who asked us to come there, is at 13. As we noted a little bit earlier, Miami of Ohio sneaking in the top 20. You'd like to see that. Nebraska and Kansas State and ECU sneak into the rankings after winning their bowl games. New Mexico State drops to 23. Auburn drops to 24. And then Minnesota takes the 25th spot at 7-6. So it must have been a pretty gross year, I guess, all around for the country. If 25 can be 7-6 and still make it in there. So here are the Big Ten standings. We win by a couple games here, which is not a lot, but it's a lot. You get what I'm saying? When all we play at least 7 or 8 of each other, having a 2-game buffer to win the conference is a nice cushion. So the conference again is pretty mid all throughout. We got about 5 teams that are around that 500 mark. Michigan State, another terrible year. Illinois, another terrible year. And Indiana still doing a great job of winning only 1 game every year. I don't know what's going to fix that program. They're just like, it's nuts now. They're like UMass levels bad now. I don't know what happened to them. But yeah, this is how the Big Ten stacks up. Of course, us, Wisconsin, and Ohio State top the conference yet again. It's just like real life when you got Michigan and Ohio State playing every year, and Penn State for the Big Ten every year. So we're going to continue on to the offseason now and gear up for another defending champ season. So let's see you all there.